Good morning. What does the head and the brain have to do with music? Well, I'm Mary Winters. I'm a gerontologist and the owner of About Senior Solutions. You're watching Visionary Aging. We're going to talk with Kalani Das, a music therapist, about how we stimulate our brain and our bodies with music therapy. So let's go ahead and we'll start off with our caregiver question for the day. We have Steve McCullough on with us, and we'll go ahead and get him to come on up and answer our question or present our question. Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Good. Good morning. How are you?
Great. Thanks. Yeah. So what kind of question do we have today?
So our question comes from one of our viewers. Their dad is in assisted housing and it's been there for about 5 years. He's always talked about coming home, wanting to come home. Our viewer's sister had blocked the dad's attempts from coming home, but there's now a conservator that's in place. And so our viewer wants to know if that conservator could facilitate the dad coming home, if that's a possibility.
That's a really meaty question. I would love to talk with them, actually. So I'm just going to go with kind of some of the facts that we have on that. And if he can he go home, and he's in assisted living now. It's been a long time since he's been there. So I'll want to know, does he want to go home? And then let me see, we have our Venn diagram that I use for actually planning and looking at some of those things. So let me just share that with you really quickly. So when I put a plan together, we decide in trying to create what steps to go forward with that. We look at somebody's wishes, their safety, and their finances, and those all have to blend together to move that plan. So if the plan is to move him home, does he want to move home? Can we keep him safe home? And does he have the financial wherewithal or the finances to be able to move home? And then we can create that plan. So, I don't know what their situation is. He would have to have, possibly he needs 24/7 care. So we would have to factor in that as a financial factor to be able to move him in. Will he accept care in the house?
According to the question, he's always wanted to come home.
Okay.
So it's the implication that he did, and he still wants to come back home.
So if the idea is to move him home, then we would look at the safety factors in the house. Is it free of clutter? Easy stuff as far as pulling up carpets or little things that way. Do we need handrails? Do we need some equipment? Do we need a special bed? Do we need walkers? Do we need anything for the shower? Those types of things. We get the house set up, and if they can afford to have the amount of care that is needed for this individual, then by all means, we can get him home. Right. So it's a pretty complicated kind of situation to look at several facts, but that's how I would organize that, at least to initiate. And obviously they can give us a call and see if there's something more that we can offer. But we have moved people home who have been in assisted living for periods of time and been able to really satisfy their wishes. And some are not willing to accept any help or understand or realize, and it may be very dangerous to move them home. So I wish you luck, and I hope that if his dream is to get back to his house, that we can, somebody can put those factors together and make it happen.
And a conservator is someone that will be able to facilitate that?
They would have the decision-making power at this point, yes. So they could decide that, and they would probably bring in some other experts to make sure that they're making a good decision in making that transition, especially if somebody is opposing it. So it gets complicated, but it definitely can happen. We have seen it many times. So, yeah. Well, we have Kalani Das. He is a music therapist. He's going to come on with us and talk a little bit about music and health, really. So we'll go ahead and bring him on. I'll see you in a little bit. Does that sound good?
Looking forward to it. Music is such a healing process. And
Yes, music is fabulous, and I'll have him speak more because we know it can support both sides of the brain. It brings back long-term memory. It's so fascinating and wonderful music. So yeah, looking forward to hearing what he's going to say.
Excellent. Have a great show. We'll see you at
All
the
right.
end.
All right. Thanks.
All right, bye.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having him on and hearing more about what he does with his clients and the successes that he has. How are you this morning?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about the work of music therapy.
Sure. Music therapy is an allied healthcare profession. It's been around about 60 years, believe it or not. Most people are kind of finding out about it. It's gained popularity, of course, in the last couple decades, but still, a lot of people aren't really sure what it is, or they have their own ideas of what it is. So thank you for having me on, because one of the things that I do is help educate and advocate for music therapy and just answer questions like the ones that you have.
Okay, great.
So I could give you a general, should I just give you a general
Yes.
overview?
Sure.
So first of all, music therapists work with a variety of ages and abilities and needs, basically the entire spectrum. Anybody who, well, let me say virtually anybody who is in therapy for whatever reason, it can be physical, speech, cognitive, occupational, uh, elder, geriatric care, it could be prenatal, could benefit from music therapy. And there are music therapists that work with all those populations. Many music therapists, like physical therapists or perhaps talk therapists, might focus on a certain population. At Golden State Music Therapy, we focus on people with developmental disabilities and also older adults. Those are our two main categories. But we work with all sorts of people. And of course, just like any therapy, like if you go see your doctor or you see a physical therapist, they're going to design a program just for you. So music therapy is personalized, whether that's for an individual or a group. And it's a big topic. We use musical experiences, right? So any kind of experience that includes or is related to music, we design a customized treatment program for the client based on who they are, what are their goals, what are their strengths, what are their needs, and we deliver that as a therapy program for people. So it just really, what we do depends on the client. And I just want to say that because a lot of times people will ask, well, what do you do in music therapy? And it's kind of like asking a doctor, well, what do you do for somebody who needs medicine, right?
Sure.
Of course, you can do a lot of things, and whatever you do depends on that person across from you and what they need in general and also in the moment. So, but some of the common questions are: do you do songs? Do you do instruments? What do what do you do? So yes, we generally speaking, of course, we do a lot of songs, singing, playing, moving to music. So we're covering, like you mentioned earlier, cognition, memories, movement. And then, of course, because music is beloved, it's a beloved art form and aesthetic, and it's part of all of our lives pretty much. There's also an emotional attachment there and an emotional charge that's motivating. And so we use the fact that most people love music and have a relationship with music. We use that existing relationship to help motivate people to move, to get up, to dance, to sing, to connect with each other, to play instruments, to recreate songs that they love from their childhood or whenever in life. And so, yeah, we do all of that. It's a lot, but that's what we're trained to do.
Oh, it's amazing, actually. It's amazing work, and obviously it's planned. It's just kind of like what we would do too. We create a plan and move it forward versus, going willy-nilly. Music is wonderful, and you really could jump into anything. But when you have a plan, as you said, say, then it creates purpose in how you're moving things forward. So, talk a little bit about the benefits then of music therapy, especially for seniors, because that's what we're really focused on.
Of course. Well, so I think it should be probably it's obvious to most of your viewers that there is a benefit to mood enhancement.
Mhm.
People like music. We see a huge, shift, and there's lots of anecdotal evidence of this when people engage in music that they enjoy
Mhm.
and that they find stimulating. So it's an energy boost usually. It can also, at the other end of the spectrum, I don't want to, make it sound like it only does one thing. Music sometimes can be helpful in reducing somebody who's agitated, for example, and calming somebody down, helping them rest, diverting them from pain or anxiety. So it can be used for, on the energy boost side of things, it can be used for calming, getting better sleep, getting better rest, reducing anxiety, uh, di distracting somebody from rumination, for example,
Mhm.
which can be huge. Of course, there's the movement component. Our seniors, we have to, all of us, we have to keep moving throughout our lives, and I think the more we can get up, dance, move, play things, even just something like grasping to a maraca, let's say. And
Sure.
I'll just say that an instrument like this is probably the first instrument that you got when you're a baby, right? It's one of the first
Yeah,
instruments that
rattle.
we give to infants. Yeah, we give them a rattle. Well, what is that? That's a percussion instrument. That's a musical instrument.
That's great.
Um, and so we can increase fine motor skills or maintain motor skills so that they can, for example, prolong their time to just do something like feed themselves. I mean, which is great, right? Because the more we can prolong the skills for daily living for older adults, the better, I think, for everyone.
Mhm.
The less dependent they become, the more independent they are. So even just doing something like playing a maraca, we can not only engage somebody in a fun, energetic song, and that's great. Maybe there's lyrics that they're, bringing up fond memories. So that's all good. But on the physical level, we're also addressing fine motor skills and maybe gross motor skills, helping with walking, helping with, motor movement, getting themselves around, getting up and down, strengthening their bodies. I mean, so we're always thinking across multiple modalities,
Mhm.
and that is something I think people can appreciate. If you think about it now, maybe the people watching can just imagine how they interact with music, and then when you really break it down, it covers it covers emotions, it covers energy level, it covers cognition, memories, and then the physical part, we're singing, we're breathing, we're deepening our lung
Exactly.
capacity.
Exactly.
And then that's just on the individual level. And then, of course, a huge part of it is the social component, right? Where you have people that might be living in the same facility, but they're not necessarily interacting, and that's something that we can also facilitate is direct interaction, not only parallel interaction, because people can be led through things as a group, which is fine, but they're really still having their own individual experience. And
I
so some
completely agree with that, and I see
you
that in
yeah,
a majority of the activity in communities now is
yeah,
there's not they don't have an understanding or training in how to connect the individuals in their courses,
right.
which is a shame because they feel just as lonely as part of the group when they go back, but they haven't made a connection, and it might be fun, but they're not able to communicate with the others or engage in that way to really make a connection. And you just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, exactly. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. And
Mhm.
while let's just call it parallel play activities are fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Doing aerobics or something or whatever it is,
Yes.
being led through something is great. However, yeah, it still leaves a lot unexplored. You kind of it would be a shame. It's a shame to leave so much on the table, as it were. So, for example, we could have a small group and maybe we do a song and I ask somebody, what does this remind you of? Or does tell me about what you were thinking. And then somebody might say, oh, it reminds me of a trip that I took with my husband in 1964 and we went to Hawaii. And I said, wow, who else has been to Hawaii? Who wants to go to Hawaii?
Exactly.
Who doesn't
Yeah.
want to go to Hawaii?
Right.
And we and we have that conversation and we get to know each other, right? We get to know a little bit about each person, can share something, and we So
And they
there's
see they have a connection too. Oh, I've been to Hawaii, or I used to sing that song all the time with my husband too, or and then you have
yeah,
that opportunity to connect afterwards.
right. Exactly. Exactly. It's opens up communication, it starts conversations. So there's that whole component too. And so it's not just, doing music. That's not what we do only. We do a lot of things. Ideally. Now sometimes if somebody is, I mean, we will play for people who are nonverbal, maybe
Mhm,
they're in bed, they're bedridden, and that's okay. And we can provide them comfort. We work a lot with transition. There's a
mhm,
lot of music therapists that work in hospice, even. So
mhm,
helping soften the environment, make the environment a little warmer for the family, for the person who is in the care setting, and just bringing we can bring people home in that way. And
absolutely.
music therapists aren't the only people that do that, that provide that particular service. And I wouldn't want to dissuade people from also employing volunteer musicians. Which it's great to have music in a facility. But I would like to say, if I could, that
Mhm.
if somebody out there is working at the facility, or they're a manager or their director, um, I hope that they look into music, having a music therapist come out if they feel like their clients need specialized therapy and care. And that can be in addition to having your volunteer song leader, piano player, or guitar player person coming out. Have both. But just like you wouldn't want to have a yoga instructor do physical therapy, for example. I mean, it's not the same, right? Yoga is great, but it's not physical therapy. And I would just say that having music doesn't mean you have music therapy. And and I say that
Exactly.
because, yeah, some people, and I've even had directors of facilities say, "Oh, we have a music guy. We have our music guy," and it's great to have a
I
music
just learned how to
person.
play the ukulele last week.
Okay, yeah,
That
yeah,
that kind of guy.
it's great to have music. It's great. I mean, get your volunteers in there, have your sing along people, have them, but because music therapists, like other allied healthcare professionals, are trained in ethics, in privacy, in how to deal with it, how to talk to other therapists. They understand the needs of clients, and we
Exactly.
overlap into the medical profession a little bit. Yeah, so that's the difference, I think. So just
So important to have that trained
it is.
eye to really know how to direct a program, how to enhance everyone's life in that program, whether it's an individual or you're providing group activity. Um, yeah, it's so amazing. I'm also finding that there's a shift or different interests in music now as our baby boomers are aging. Are you seeing a different kind of request or requirement for the types of music as we're kind of going into a different era of aging population?
Sure. Well, of course, music therapy will track the there's different words for it, but sometimes people call it the courting music, or your romance music, the music that you listened to when you were probably between 12 and 22 years old, right? Your generation's music. And of course, as our population ages, that music from that era will shift forward. So yes, we're moving kind of away from, let's say, the last couple decades where we would play for our 70 and 80-year-olds. We would play music from the 40s and 50s. And now we're actually moving. It's a little scary because I was born in 63.
It's your
And
music.
now, yeah, we're starting to use the music that I remember, not when I was a teenager, but from my childhood. Uh, so yeah, we do track that kind of era. That would be the music of your generation, or the music of the generation who is currently in the demographic of, say, 70 to 90-year-olds, which are our baby boomers. Yes, as you mentioned. So
Exactly. And
yeah,
all our aging
we do
baby
that.
boomers.
Yeah, yes, of course. And so yeah, we it's important for us to be able to, go to the client. We don't make the clients come to us.
Yes.
We get to know, who are you? What do you like? What kinds of music do you like? what are your religious preferences? I
Sure.
mean, that's something that every music therapist needs to understand, and also have music where you can deliver something meaningful for that person, whether they are of a certain religion or a non-religious person. So there's a lot of questions about, appropriateness. How can we serve the client? And also, and I'll just mention, as long as we're talking about this, we talk about preferred music as being part of, what we use. However, you can also look at the other end of the spectrum. We don't want to upset people and, bring back memories that they'd
Exactly.
rather not think about. Yeah. And so
Exactly.
that's also, we don't want to assume that, and we don't assume that a certain song is going to do a certain thing. It's not prescriptive. Music is not prescriptive. We consider everything. So, and I've
Sure.
had clients, hear a certain song and I thought, oh, this is a great song. And the person starts crying because it
Mhm.
reminds them of something, of a trauma or something. So
Yes.
that's information that we need to have so we can serve them the best we can.
Right, right. And sometimes it changes day to day as far as what they're interested in or what they're willing to accept. Um, Kalani, how do people get a hold of you?
Oh, sure. So my wife and we're both music therapists. We have a Southern California, LA based business called Golden State Music Therapy. And the website is GS Golden State, gsmusictherapy.com. And they can find us there and look into what we do.
I really appreciate the work that you do, and thank you for coming on. I'd love to have you back too, and we can discuss more things on other topics, or you can bring out some of the instruments or have some more storytelling about some of the clients that you work with and some of the success stories, because I think music therapy is essential, essential. So thank you for the work.
Thank
that you
you.
do. We appreciate it.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mary. I appreciate that. And yeah, good luck to everybody who's out there. And thank you for watching the show and doing, you really help us all do better when we share this information. So thank you so
It's
much.
true. We need to share the information. So thank you. Yeah, we'll have you back on. So hopefully you can stay to the end. If not, we understand. You've got lots of people to work with, and we will get you back on one of these days soon. So thank
Okay,
you.
I'm going to hang out. So maybe I will see you all in a few minutes. All right.
All right. Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Now we want to bring on, we are going to bring on Melinda. And I'm going to, let's see, find her intro. Here we go. Morning,
Hello,
Melinda.
good morning.
How are you?
Good.
So tell me, what are we going to talk about today?
I wanted to talk about a couple of ways, 3 ways to improve digestion. So,
Excellent. All right. So
the
way
first
one.
is just the healthy diet. So the diet with whole foods, with plenty of fiber, with healthy fats, lots of hydration. So drinking water or some herbal tea. And that's going to get that digestion, your digestive tract is moving with that healthy diet. The second would be the stress reduction techniques. And this includes like mindful eating and thoroughly chewing our food, eating slowly. Eating without multitasking is a really big deal. So sometimes when people are watching TV, or, like for those of us still in the workforce, when we're working and eating at the same time, that affects our digestion because our mind is somewhere else. And if you're watching something on TV has some thriller music in it, or is bringing
Sure.
up,
Sitting at
those
your
feelings.
desk, trying to wolf
Or sitting
down
at your desk
something.
doing paperwork, and that's causing maybe a little bit of anxiety,
Mm.
your digestion is affected as a result. So just taking time to enjoy your meal slowly and with mindfulness without doing anything else really improves digestion. People are shocked to see how much that improves digestion when they try it.
I agree. When you are being mindful, I think, and
Yeah.
you're also, I think it's more satiating, your food is, because you realize
Yes.
that you did eat versus
Mhm.
my food's gone.
Yeah. You're just everything about it. You're not going to overeat. You're going to be able to pay attention, and that leads into this third kind of tenet of improving digestion is being embodied. So when we're in our body, when we can get in our body, when we're embodied, we can slow down and listen to our body's cues for hunger, our body's cues for fullness. And so if you're, taking time to eat that meal without a lot of distractions, then you're more embodied as you eat, and you can listen to those cues. The hormones that drive our appetite, either shutting it off or turning it on, it takes a little bit of time for those hormones to kick in and kick out. So, while we're eating, you want to eat slowly. You want to chew thoroughly, because that allows your body time to process the information that you're eating and turn on and off those hormones, and for those, those messages to get to the brain and for you to feel satiated or feel that fullness. And then the last kind of aspect of getting into your body is that embodiment is moving your body. So exercise can really help digestion when people are struggling with, especially like constipation, that'll get things moving. Sometimes just to walk around the block will help.
Yeah.
And certainly there's cases for if digestion is, become a real problem for someone, we can look into probiotics, which help to balance the healthy bacteria in the gut, and that promotes healthy digestion. And then sometimes low zinc levels. So sometimes it's a zinc deficiency that's causing digestion issues.
Interesting.
And so
Very
just
interesting.
looking at those zinc levels and making sure that the zinc levels are appropriate can sometimes really improve people's digestion.
Fantastic tips.
Yeah.
Really great. I appreciate
We
it.
had a client who, this is just an example of the mindful eating. We had a client who wanted to get out of the office to have lunch every day. And this person was eating lunch in the car, which isn't conducive to really proper digestion. It is kind of like an awkward place to eat. And when we took the person out of the car and said, you need to eat somewhere quiet and, really sit down and enjoy your meal, digestion improved a lot. It was really impressive and surprising to the person that just that little adjustment to mealtime could have that big of an impact on digestion.
Amazing. Yeah. Go to the strength shop, check out what Melinda does, and make sure that you are taking care of yourself and eating in a way that is mindful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. I'm going to bring Steve back on, and he's going to talk a little bit about
this day in sports.
But let me just check really fast. So I think it's, what is it, International Meteorite Day or something like that? So if you want the perk, we'll give this out to you for free. We have these fun little word searches as well. But let's see, the pun for the day is, as usual, I can't read it. I don't have my glasses on. So you're going to have to just call Jenny, 626-665. Jenny is 626-359-0108. And we'll send these out to you for free and have fun with that. So let me go ahead and I'll bring Kalani back on too. And let's see, hopefully he hasn't gone anywhere. Kalani, are you here? Are you here? He's here. All right. We'll go ahead and you give us your sports history day, and we'll talk a little bit and seal up our day for the weekend.
Sure. So the year was 2002. The site was Yokohama, Japan. And Brazil won the FIFA Gold Cup final against Germany. It was a final score 2-0. Ronaldo scored both goals for Brazil and was the man of the match. Is Brazil's 5th World Cup title. They have the record for most World Cup titles in men's history, and I thought this was kind of a neat little day in sports because, as people may know, the Women's World Cup starts in July. It runs from July 20th through August 20th. The
Oh.
sites are in New Zealand and Australia. Those are the host countries.
Uh-huh.
And our U.S. women's team is the most decorated of international soccer teams. They've won 4 World Cups. They're going for their 5th one this year and are considered to be one of the favorites, as they should be. So
That's great. Good news.
Street.
Wonderful. Nice information. Well, everyone, anything special? Any birthdays, anniversaries, special stuff going on?
Just trying to stay cool.
All right. I know it's going to be, I think it's going to be up to 100.
Mhm.
You're going to be in the water. All right.
Well, we have a big, I guess, a national anniversary coming. Well, not an anniversary, but a celebration, right? Coming up early next
4th of
week.
July. Exactly. So hope
Yeah.
you're enjoying family, friends, and something nutritious, maybe some good watermelon and some water and fireworks. So enjoy, because we won't see you until after that. So appreciate reminding us about 4th of July, Kalani. All right, everyone, have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Sounds good. A great
Thank you.
presentation, Kalani.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.